Shalom. All praises to Yahweh. Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Harakah Kadesh. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great most honorable well. And shalom to all the brothers doing the work of discerning truth. Um, yeah. Well, this article on Bloomberg by way of MSN about these missiles and their development. Because hey, you're hearing it, man. The the Karagma is close, man. More or less like the groundwork there. They just need to push it out and then mandate it. That's all that's really that's all that's really left. Um, and the way they've been getting the mindset of the people, it's they've been preparing them for it, man. And people are ready to jump on it. People are ready to accept. So yeah, it's close. So as well, you have uh, Third World War. That Third World War brewing. You've had like a lot of more or less constant chafing between the US, the West, like Europe and whatnot, and America. And these things come into it, man, that military technology. Mark 5 missiles spur new arms race as US seeks to match China. The US defense contractors, no, top US defense contractors, are competing for billions of dollars of work tied to the next big technology focus in national security circles: hypersonic weapons. The military's renewed interest in ultra high speed missiles, spurred by concern that the US is lagging behind Russia and China, opens the door to lucrative contracts that could last decades. Ain't gonna last no decades, man. But the missiles they get produced, they're gonna accomplish what they've been set up for, man. Because okay, that may provide a much needed boon for manufacturers seeking to capitalize on growth segments as the Biden administration keeps overall defense outlays in check. The industry is developing an array of super high speed armaments for the US Army, Navy, and Air Force. And part of this, well, is Esau developing his military. He's looking to to be able to basically try and do war with Yahweh Shai, because that's part of the prophecies. You're gonna have Esau and the whole world basically come together and attempt to combat Yahweh Shai, but it ain't gonna work. And you're gonna have missiles shot on America, on the States, and they're gonna get taken out. So it says Navy and Air Force, with the aim of being able to launch them from planes, submarines, and trucks. Lockheed Martin Corp has a leading position in key programs that aim to deliver prototypes the soonest, with flight tests on a new missile slated for the first half of next year. Raytheon Technologies Corp and Northrop Grumman Corp are also seeking to get a toehold in the market for missiles that fly at more than 5 times the speed of sound. So now it's got, to a higher tier of what do you call it? A higher tier of speed, capabilities, technology, basically. So as such, what they're now everything's gonna become cutting edge, and with all that money being spent, all that technology being developed, there's gonna be an incentive for some shit to pop off, man. And like Ukraine, Taiwan, those are like the two hotspots for now. But Iran's been chilling in the cut for the longest. Like Iran and the state of Israel, that conflict, that's not really gone anywhere. That's still there. That's still happening. It's felt like Iran's been enriching all the Ras Clark uranium, and like it's even with them, saying like, oh, we're only enriching this much. Even at the rate, that they've been saying they're doing that, which they're doing way more than that, and they already have certain things that that certain weapons would already been developed, because them man would have got got the technology time ago anyhow. But there it's what that's the main issue, that's the main problem within the region, like the state of Israel not wanting Iran to develop in any way in that field. They basically want to keep, Israel as the main nuclear power in the area. And as such, that conflict is also going to escalate. You're going to have the slow build up of, the conflict. Fire. So it's all about making sure that we have more and more capability and classes of capability in hypersonic weapons, said Jay Pittman, the Vice President of Air Dominance and Strike Weapons at Lockheed Missiles and Fire Control Division, that will enhance the strategic deterrence that we are able to provide. Pentagon officials recently estimated that Army and Navy programs that share a common missile may alone add a combined $28.5 billion to the service's budgets over the coming years. Critics question the price tag, technical feasibility and battlefield utility of the new class of military hardware. Yeah. They offer what? Better performance. See, the thing is with like nuclear, because basically, all these missiles based essentially for nuclear missiles, nuclear weaponry. So when you have that that global kind of pressure being put on for military for in ICBMs, you know, and all that technology to be developing, is putting the spirit out there, man. These things are gonna get utilized. And that's really a thing, because it's like, it's just like with how the predictive programming has worked out for what do you call it? For the Karagma, with everything that's happened, surrounding this thing, has basically been laying the groundwork. All these military talks, all this, like, because people weren't really talking about nukes, but you've had it, technology in the area outside of like North Korea doing the odd missile test and Iran enriching uranium. You didn't really have to talk, but now you have it coming up. You know, Iran also in what's it called? You have it happen in Iran. You have it also happen with China as well, developing their weaponries. Russia developing their weaponries, and now the US as well, developing that field. And then all that happening is once this conflict goes down, then you're gonna, hey, these things are gonna be there, and the Lord's gonna put the spirit out there for these things to get used. So it says destabilizing. Okay. that will enhance the Shirokon missile. Yeah, so the price tag, da da da. So it says, the pursuit of the weapons by strategic rivals in some ways evokes the tension of the Cold War. Yeah, that's all basically moving um, in that kind of way, and that's really what you've been seeing, because that goes into Ezekiel 38 about I'll put hooks in your jaws and turn you back, because you had that time where it was between not London, between the US and Russia, that the whole Cold War, where it was basically them trying to get a one up over each other using espionage, um, spying. That's where you had all these like these James Bond, all these different spy movies coming out. Um, and then these it's kind of pushing at these different spy movies coming out, and basically just about the two competing, trying to get one up, one trying to get into the lead position. Yeah, and it's more or less been was a back and forth, and it's funny because they have like they've kind of well, there was a lot of movies that would cover that. So I think it's The Hunt for Red October is the movie. I believe it's with Denzel. Just double check. The one with, is it the one I'm thinking of? The movie. Is it Denzel? Sean Connery. Nah, it's not. Okay. So I was thinking of a different one, but I think Hunt for Red October is about, yeah, well that's it's covering the same kind of thing. The Cold War. And it was all about, well, that's just why it's like with nuclear submarines. Nuclear submarines were basically meant for because they're undetectable by radar, well, undetectable by satellite or radar, then you could just have the nuclear submarines out at any spot and capable to strike undetected. And that technology was developed basically counteract where it was like, okay, the US might have missiles in places that they'll be able to get a quicker strike on Russia than Russia's able to get on the US. So then they'll develop, okay, we're going to develop this so that we can do the reverse. So you had the technology kind of going back and forth. But then Soviet Union collapsed. All that was meant to have been in the bin. But, hey, it's coming back, just like prophecy said. So it says, the pursuit of weapons by strategic rivals in some ways evokes tensions of the Cold War, when fears abounded that a conflict between the US and the Soviet Union could bring about global annihilation via nuclear missiles. It also was a lucrative epoch for the defense contractors. Yeah, and that's as well about making money. It was hella money being made, man. That's what what's this guy's name? Well, Lord of War is talking about. I believe after the Soviet Union fell, or maybe it was just before they fell, and then going into like after they fell. We had Nicolas Cage basically just selling all kinds of weaponries, basically around like I think it was chiefly in Africa and like Southeast Asia, and then like it's all about the whole industry that basically is just on selling old weapons, man. And that's the thing is these things are that's Esau's blessing, man. That's his means of executing power in the world, man. The sword, all the different forms of weaponry, man. The modern day sword, which is a gun. So these, that's as well, the blessing that he's got, the wisdom he's got, being able to set up his kingdom. He's utilizing them things to make himself rich as well. And that's why you have, the military industrial complex, where it's basically all this weaponry, all this technology being developed. It's all about making money as well. So, war is a positive thing because it's a chance to make money. That's why you had like all kinds of companies making a killing during, like the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. But well, okay, what does it say? So lucrative, even so it says, but just how much hypersonic weapons will alter the global balance of power remains a matter of debate. Some observers see a risk that the weapon's high speed and unpredictable flight paths could lead to miscalculations. Huh. That may escalate conflicts, according to the non-partisan Congressional Research Service. Others argue that hypersonic weapons do little to alter the dynamic between the US, Russia, and China, because the countries already have enough nuclear missiles to overwhelm an enemy's defenses, the group said. Yeah, but hey, it pushes the vibration out there, man, where it brings these things back to mind. Because that's really what all these things are doing, man. It's basically bringing it back into people's minds, like, hey, that, because when it's like, probably mentioned it, well, I know I mentioned it before, but the TV show Mad Men, they have an episode basically covering like the Cuban Missile Crisis and how everyone was glued to the TV, everyone was watching it, because I was thinking like, yo, if this actually escalates, that's it, it's done, it's a wrap, man, everything's done. And that's the spirit that's coming back, because it's where, because you have, well, they still have it during like the what you call the Soviet Union, the Cold War. They had the thing they use on Watchmen, man. The what the fuck is it called? The thingy Doomsday Clock. Doomsday Clock was basically Doomsday Clock was the countdown. Well, it's basically highlighting the likelihood of death by nuclear arms, man, nuclear war, basically. And that's something they had brought up a few times, where it's like well, previously it was at like 6 or 7 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes to midnight, because it was basically I think it was when the one of the start deals, when they ended the start deal, because I think the start deal was when the West and Russia were basically meant to limit how many nukes they're making, but when they threw that in the bin, then that's when they had the whole saying like, hey, look, now that the deal's there, all these warheads are basically live again. The risk is way higher. Let me read this. Isaiah 54:16. It says, "Behold, I have created the smith, the blow of the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy." Yeah, it says so basically the Lord is the one who set up these different weaponries, that missile, which is one of the key one of the key means by which this place is going to be brought to an end by those nuclear missiles, man. Because we oh well, it talks about in Job, I believe, about the glittering sword, man. How it's gonna come out and basically plunge into the land, I believe. And hey, this is that sword that's basically been crafted for this express purpose, man. It's been given a specific job. And that's basically mainly to bring about America's end by nuclear fire, man. Uh, Yeah, those Smiths, those are those scientists. Uh, back after World War II, when you had them split between Russia and America, and that's why you have Russia and America, the main two nuclear powers. You had them split between them, and they both were developing them. And they're both basically vying for that control. Oh wait, oh, 3. So Joel 2 and 3 says, "What a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as a garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them." Yeah. When you got these missiles firing out, it's because they're what ICBMs. They basically deal with atmospheric re-entry. So when you have them leaving, they obviously have the rockets, the missiles, etc. And it's also when they're re-entering into the atmosphere, they have that concentrated heat around the front as well, and that's when they're moving to make contact. So this is what oh, okay, yeah. The land is as a garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. Yeah, like once they touch down, it's basically like everything's done away with. Just like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where it touched down, that shit just got blown apart, and that was on a way lighter scale than the level of technology, nuclear weaponry that's about now. That was just atomic technology. So it says, the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. That's how, these missiles basically, when they're fired, they're set along their path, man. And they're all gonna march out as they come out of the silo. They leave the atmosphere and they drift around, guide down, and come down. They have that whole arc that they go through. Hey, they're basically gonna be in formation, and they're gonna be moving just like a battle troop, man. Where they have those revised movements, where they know, okay, everyone's planned out, everyone knows how they're gonna get around. Same thing with the missiles, man. They're basically gonna be moving. They're gonna be aiming for their target. It says, "Before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks." Yeah, they climb the wall, man. All those defenses that Esau was dreaming of, and the main one is like, I believe the most advanced, they say, is the Iron Dome, which I remember those footage during the when it was heating up between Palestine and the state of Israel, when them guys were going around fucking suplexing each other in the street, gunning niggas down, blowing shit up, all that. They had there was someone that recorded like missiles getting shot in from the West Bank, and they had like the Iron Dome just kind of firing off interceptors into every one. And it was like, for those ones, it was hitting. I believe it hit the vast majority. I think maybe like 3 or 4 got through. A few of them get through, and that's even with like those missiles that aren't even moving at the same level of speed as you're gonna have with like hypersonic missiles. But then what? It's that that whole form of defense isn't gonna last, man. It's basically gonna, hey, the Lord spirits could be in there, man. It's gonna make these prophecies come to pass. It's gonna make it all happen how it needs to, man. Eesh. But yeah, hey, it's close, man. It's close. All these things, this thing's being built up, man. It's being stirred. It's real soon, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double NC Apostles and Elders, great most on the Rule 1. Shalom. Shalom.